Everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.
Who's that kid? Nick. He looks like Beaker from Muppets.
The one on FS1, Nick Wright.
Yep. Yeah. I got something.
That's amazing. I did not even. I love that.
If I get 5 women and they're all in the same room with me, we're going at it at 110%.
Welcome in, everybody. Lazy Booking Podcast live on A2D Radio with a special Monday Indigenous Peoples Columbus Day holiday edition of the Lazy Booking Podcast. Eagles Talk. Happy to be with you guys this week. I am Chrome. I'm here with Arch. Over here, Eric Archer. What's up, buddy?
What's happening?
And not much. And well, I guess much.
Glad to get out of that weekend because of all the doom and gloom over the last week. So it's good to start fresh.
Rough. And obviously, happy to be joined by our buddy, our pal, ECW WWE legend, professional wrestling legend. Been in Ring of Honor quite a bit as of late. And Philadelphia sports and Philadelphia Eagles enthusiast, fanatic, the Blue Meanie, Brian Heffron. What's up, brother?
Yes.
Hey, how's it going, fellas? Thanks for having me on another episode here.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
It's definitely been interesting, but it is what it is, and we'll get into it. But I think we'll be all right. Okay.
I mean, there's a spoiler alert. You must be feeling a lot better than a lot of us because I'm an openly and typically a very cautiously optimistic person. But we'll dive into that.
Well, that's healthy.
Yeah,
it's a healthy way to look at it. Look, I say this each and every year. The first couple weeks is glorified preseason. Now we're in week 6, and you got to go back and look. Where were we at this time last year? We're 4-2, still number 1 in the division. The Cowboys are still the Cowboys. Washington's doing okay. Yeah, we lost to the Giants, but we got hit with a bunch of injuries. Carter wasn't in the game. Kenyon had to sit out because of a hamstring. There's some things that need to be cleaned up on the lines, but it's good to know this now and not like week 14. Right when you're in the last stretch, trying to get into the playoffs. Adoree Jackson needs to be sent to wherever he's from. But just other than some of the small little details, it's good to know these things right now than later on in the season. Everybody wants to talk about 2023, 2023, but that's lazy booking.
It is. I mean, I can't agree with you more. It is definitely not the same. It is lazy booking. It's lazy takes. It's lazy everything. So I'm with you on that. But listen, our opening topic, we're going to dive into it.
There we go.
Our show was brought to us by 2 folks here. First of all, Dr. Paul Vidal at Specialized Physical Therapy, Burlington and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Find him at this website, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. So if you have any aches and pains, anything brand new or anything long-lasting where you need to get back to your physical peak, hit up his award-winning team, and they will set you on a program to get you in the right place. And listen, we have the man on here. And
you're too kind.
Listen, got to show a little love to our second sponsor here. You don't even know they're sponsoring, but the Mind of the Meanie, which you can find on every major podcast platform. You can find all your social media pages. That's it, right over his head there. It is tremendous. It is phenomenal. He tells a lot of great stories, this man right here. A lot of great stories just in general. You talk music, you talk sports, you talk professional wrestling, you talk nonsense sometimes. And that's some of my favorite conversations.
Absolute nonsense.
Yeah, Meanie and Adam Barnard. Geez, I can't talk today.
It's Monday.
It is Monday. It is a tremendous show. Please make sure you guys check them out.
Thank
And
you very much.
yeah, of course, brother. And with that opening topic, we're going to dive in. You kind of touched on what some of the issues we have going on are, but let's see what you believe the biggest issue is. The Philadelphia Eagles offense is their biggest issue through week 6. Do you agree or disagree? If you're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or not Instagram, we have those and all. What's it? Twitter, X, whatever you call it. I still call it Twitter. It's Twitter. But wherever you're on, wherever you're following us, make sure you throw a like, subscribe, a follow, and we want you to be a part of this conversation. So
Definitely.
we're going to let our guest kick this off. Brian?
Rightfully so.
Oh, very kind.
This is the biggest.
No pressure.
I agree or disagree? I agree. It's one of the many. One of the couple, I should say, not many. I think it starts with the offensive line. Our offensive line's banged up. You know, when you're not able to get Saquon to at least get 1 yard past the offensive line, there's something going on. You know, most of Saquon's runs he's getting stopped in the backfield. So there's a lot of things going on with the offensive line. I'm thinking injuries. I'm thinking they're a little bit banged up. You know, when you're one of the 2 teams to play the last game of the last season, you're going to have a little bit less time to heal up in the off season and get your body right, get your mentals right. And I think that's it's coming down to. We got a couple guys banged up. Schemes could be worked out a little bit better. When you have 2 receivers almost running the identical routes, that's a problem. You can't get separation when you got 2 receivers running pretty much perpendicular, straight up, the same way. Just I think they need to go, deeper into the playbook, maybe even borrow some plays from last year and just to get into a rhythm of doing something different, because it seems like the defenses are knowing when we're passing, they know when we're going to throw. So there's a little bit of predictability in there. So definitely I think it starts with the offense, because if the offense can't get, can't get into a rhythm, can't get into a couple plays, that affects our defense, because our defense is constantly on the field. They're constantly gassed because our offense can't get anything going, can't sustain a drive. So I believe the problems with the offense leads over into the defense, to where the defense is, exhausted, so they need to work on, something, try to figure out a plan to get these guys healthy, a plan to scheme the plays a little bit better, be a little bit less predictable.
Yeah. I mean, you hit on a lot of points there, and that's a conversation after we go around here I want to have, and that is, you talked about finding a rhythm in this. I don't even know that this team really has a true identity. We know what it should be, but what it actually is and what's being put on the field is very, very, very confusing. So I don't know. Eric, what's your opinion on
it? I'm in full agreement that the offense is the biggest issue. I think the defense has its fair share of concerns, specifically in the secondary. And possibly, and we can talk about this a little later too, like I think the defensive ends, and I think, we've seen injuries and things like that have impacted that. But if you're not getting pressure to the quarterback and you're not making sacks, that makes it tougher for your secondary to hold on to these receivers and hang on for those big plays. So going to the offense, I think there's a lot of predictability on this in this team, but it seems like they get off to good starts. The Denver game and the Giant game, they were putting points up and moving the ball down the field. But it seems like when they get to the second half, adjustments are made by the opposing team, and there's no answer. It's kind of like we're just not. There's a lot of 3 and outs. There's a lot of the defense on the field, which causes them, like Brian said, to get to get gassed and tired, and it's eventually going to happen where the team's going to score some points, and we've seen that the last 2 weeks. So I would say I would challenge the offensive coordinator and the head coach to kind of figure out what's going on here. Do we have the right guy calling the plays right now? And I know we're not going to make a change during the season with the offensive coordinator. It's kind of silly. You see it online. People are like, get rid of Patullo and he needs to go. That's easier said than done. You're not going to bring a new offensive coordinator in week 6. You may bring somebody in to help out a little bit, but I think the easiest thing to do is maybe Sirianni needs to take the play calling duties away and kind of run it on his own. I mean, I don't know if Patullo, we just touched on people running the same routes and Saquon not being able to get more than 1 yard. I think one of the shows this week, I think Pete brought it up, where every time they're in the pistol, it's a run play. Like they know what's coming. So I think it's important to get you need to establish, one, the identity, like Chrome said, but 2, also, where's the big play calling on unpredictable plays? And I would say it just doesn't look like they know what they're doing, especially coming out of half, where the teams have made adjustments. So why aren't we making adjustments based on what they're bringing out? So it's just it's kind of mind-boggling that this team can't figure it out. You're on mute, pal.
I keep doing that because of these damn.
We're live, pal.
We're live, pal. That's the thing is, like, I thought what made this team special last year was Nick and his staff's ability to make adjustments. Right now, obviously, on the offensive side, you had a much more experienced guy. I always say health is the biggest concern, right? But that's kind of it's not a controllable factor, so to speak. In terms of what's controllable and in-house, I guess I would have to agree to the poll. Although I'm very concerned with the depth at the secondary. Very, very. I was concerned coming in, and now seeing it, it is atrocious.
Yeah.
But that being said, like, I feel like, again, we watch this offense. I mean, the offense, like, I'm concerned that maybe maybe Lane is cooked. He's hurt all the time now. He is always hurt. And that has been an issue. Now, Fred Johnson has been able to step in for him a couple of times. The first time he played pretty damn well. But I can't rely on that fact. So I'm concerned that the line, like, this team has always won up front on offensive and defensive side of the football. And right now they're losing on both sides.
Yeah.
So I think they miss Mekhi Becton tremendously right now. He was one of 2 I felt like they had to bring back, and they didn't. I thought it was him and obviously Zach Bond. So I don't know, guys. Like, I know you can't get rid of your offensive coordinator, but somebody needs to call the plays if he can't get it together. So I'm of the belief that we're going to see how this goes. Jalen, I think you put Jalen in a room with him. And if Sirianni should sit in on this too, then they need to have a real, like, I know they'd say that these guys talk, but there needs to be a very honest conversation about how vanilla white and lame this offense is. That is where it reminds me of 2023. If you guys remember the second half of 2023, what Eric said was the exact same thing that ended up happening. And what was it? We watched Christian McCaffrey sit on television and predict every play that was coming up as the Eagles were going up to the line. And the fact that you're seeing this now is an issue. There's no creative. Most creative they've been is with the tush push.
Yeah.
Finding ways to not actually execute the tush push and the shovel passes by Jalen. So I'm incredibly concerned. And if by whatever happens after the bye week, if he's not able to figure this out over the next 2 games going into the bye week and then the 1 game coming out of it, he needs to take a seat, and there needs to be somebody else who's going to be calling plays. It's got to be Nick. It's got to be Nick, because this is just unacceptable, and it's not. I know Nick probably thrives not having to worry about that, but the reality is you're head coach, and if your guy's not getting it done, the responsibility falls on your plate. I'm very, very, very concerned with how the offensive play goes. It is awful. Atrocious. Yeah. They're running the ball at like 3rd and 7 in their own territory, and they're like down 10 or 12 points with like 13 minutes left. What the hell is that kind of play calling?
Or like in the Denver game, they go up, halftime happens, and instead of just trying to drain the clock as much as you can, they just stay pass happy. There's one play, one series where there's 3 incompletes to AJ. I mean, and 3 incompletes in a row, where at least if you try to run the ball, you're killing clock. Where you're doing those 3 incompletions, the clock stops on every play, and then our defense has to come out again, and Denver has all the time in the world. If you can build a lead and then just drain the clock for the rest of the game, figure out ways to just run the ball and at least move it. And I don't know if they're listening to sports talk radio, because they're like pass. So we come out and pass, and people go, "What the hell? They're passing too much." It's like they're listening to WIP or something. But yeah, they need to just recognize what's going on in game. If you got the lead and you're going into halftime with the lead, second half should just all about be killing the clock and just gaining as many yards as you can and killing the clock, and of course continue to try to put points on the board. But it's just like it might be just a situation of maybe Kevin Petullo can draw up some good plays, but he just doesn't know when to call them at the right time. Just he can't read the situation right. Where it's like in analytics in baseball, where instead of watching and getting the feel of the game, you see somebody looking in the book. Okay, on this situation, this book says I need to do this. Instead of just looking at what you got right there on the field, it's like, all right, this is what we got to do. It's instead of it's like in wrestling, it's being able to call it in the ring versus calling the spot you called in the back and sticking with them. Just they need to get a feel for what's happening in the game and then adjust on the fly.
Mm-hmm. Robert, what's up, brother? Robert Gilchrist says, love AJ, but he's the largest trade piece we have. AJ in a late round pick for Greg Ward and Jerry Jeudy. I don't want any parts of Jerry Jeudy. I think Jerry Judy's soft as Charmin.
Can I say something? We're not trading AJ Brown.
No.
It's not happening.
No.
It's not happening this season.
No.
This team is 4-2. I think people forget that. Like, if this team, and easily, rightfully so, they could be a lot worse. I mean, they just barely beat the Rams.
I mean, listen, we went a whole year.
Beat Tampa.
We went a whole year without losing, so you kind of forget what it's like, and then you lose 2 in a row.
Yeah. Like the thought of trading AJ Brown when this team is 4-2. If we were 0-5, 0-6, okay, or 1-5, if we're in the bottom of the NFC East, then you may say, all right, we may need to get rid of some of these pieces. But this team's 4-2. They're 1 game back of the top NFC team, and they beat them. They beat Tampa. So there is time to right this ship, and this little mini bye week, hopefully.
Just read my mind.
There's some work. Yeah, there's some work to be done here, and it's kind of the same as last year. They came off that bye week. They cleaned stuff up, and they went on to win 10 in a row. So, sorry. With that being said, there's definitely time for this. However, it does not look good right now. So there's a lot to clean up, and I think the first thing is to get this offense back to where it was last year, where things are non-predictable, things, though, at least the play calling, at least can be, to a point where we're not seeing every play knowing what's coming.
Yeah, and listen, I'm going to bring this point up, and honestly, I had the same narrative of when you look at that Denver game, you say, why are they not running the football? You have a 10-point lead or whatever it was at that point. You have a double-digit lead. Why are you not running the football? Even if you get stopped, just to drain that clock down. And this was brought to me by our pal Nick, by the way. Nick Staskin says, so we were having a conversation about it, and he sent this. And there's a lot of things I give them. I don't give them a pass on. But I can actually understand. And what's crazy to me is it's a narrative that's out there. Get up, spend an entire week on why did they not run the football in the fourth? But Nick says the first drive, they ran on first down. They gained 7. There's a holding call, sets up 1st and 20. They end up having to throw the ball. Second drive, passed on the first play, 9 yards. 2nd and 1, you get the first down. On the next play, there's a penalty on Stain, and it negates it. They run on 2nd down, no gain. 3rd down pass sets up a 4th and 4. A 30-yard completion to Saquon was a 30-yard completion was negated by Saquon's failure to stop.
That illegal motion.
Illegal motion. So, there was kind of an effort to run the ball, and every time they did and they got a first down, and this is the fourth quarter. It has nothing to do with the third quarter. They actually did try to run the ball, but they got in their own way.
Yeah.
Took a lot away. So, and honestly, you got to think that's really the only 2 big drives they had. Then they had that final drive where you had to throw the football.
Yeah.
And they didn't make the call on the Dallas Goedert pass interference.
Which would have brought them down to close to the 1. And,
if they listen, egregious. You have to make that call. You have to make that call. That being said, I can't say that's the reason they lost the game, because they had that game. And again, if the offensive play calling was a little bit more goddamn creative, it would have made a whole world of difference. And this is what I agree with right here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
now you're speaking our language, Robert.
Absolutely. So the Eagles have 13 draft picks next year.
Yeah.
I think that's how you would solve that. However,
well, you see this week, look at how many cornerbacks got traded this week. Why are we not one of them?
Yeah, and Adam Schefter was reporting that he expects there to be over a ton of trades, unprecedented in the NFL. Because
it might look like a Major League Baseball trade.
Yeah. I'll say this though, and I was doing some research on some of the trades that Howie's done over the last during his tenure. He's tried, but a lot of these guys that he's brought in have not really worked. You remember Kevin Byard didn't really work out. Robert Quinn didn't really work out. Not saying that he can't hit on one, but I think you really need to establish. He might have to. He being Fangio, you might have to move DeJean over to corner and use what you have, just in the interim.
Well, right now he's your best cornerback.
Yeah.
We know for sure that Quignon's coming back fully healthy.
And this week you got Justin Jefferson and who's the other guy they've got? The other stud receiver. They got another guy, Minnesota. So it's
Addison.
Yeah, Jordan Addison. There you go. So it just goes to show. Who's to say? Who would have thought this a few years ago? You'd be worried about Carson Wentz and the Minnesota Vikings coming in, but it's going to be I don't think Quignon. Hamstring injuries are those lingering injuries, so wouldn't shock me if he's not playing this week. So we'll see what happens.
Makes you wonder what happened with that guy Simmons that played with Fangio and Denver. Nobody, supposedly he knows Vic's system, and I think he's still available. It's like, is he that, is he washed up to the point that he can't even just perform better than what we have so far? It's just,
Yeah, he was practically begging to come here. He was like, I want to play for the Eagles. Like, he couldn't make it any more obvious that he wanted to play here.
it makes you wonder what that situation is.
Yeah, he is still a free agent. I'd have to look at his numbers. I thought he was fairly productive.
I think Asante Samuel Jr. is still out there. I mean, that just shows, like, if he's not signed by now, it's kind of like there's a reason. I know there's Ward in Cleveland that there's rumors about him getting moved. I don't know. It kind of just makes you go back to, like, why didn't we just bring Isaiah Rodgers back? Or, I think that one is another one that Howie, I know you brought up Becton and Bond, but man, we could really use Isaiah Rodgers right about now.
Yeah.
Listen, I will say, I never thought I would see the day. Well, maybe with Slay. I always liked Slay.
Yeah.
But I was so disgusted watching Keely Ringo the other day. And I'm out on him. To me, he is a worse version of when Jalen Mills was not good and getting burned over the top and pass interference every play because he couldn't do anything else. Keely Ringo, to me, I missed James Bradbury this week.
Is he available?
I think he is. And guess what? I'd take a look at him right now.
Yeah.
I would take a damn look at him. I am disgusted by what I saw from Keely Ringo. Egregious. I mean, dude can't keep his hands to himself.
How about Adoree Jackson? That play at the goal line where he just stopped tackling. He just, like, stood there.
Oh,
He just shoulder bumped him.
He belongs, like my father-in-law would say, he belongs working at the toll booth.
It's love a good Jersey Philly reference there.
Yeah.
If you're from this area, you get that reference.
Shout out to Al Gladsky.
I mean, I have to look and see. I'm like not. I mean, it sounds like a.
Yeah, I'm sure Bradbury's healthy, right?
I mean, the couch, getting up from the couch to the fridge. I don't know. There's probably not a lot of hazards unless you got stuff on the floor, kids stuff, and
he's a free agent too.
There you go.
I mean, at this point, I'd practice anybody and I'd sign anybody and everybody I could to the practice squad and see who's got something left in the tank.
Because it can't get worse.
Is Bennett coming back anytime soon? Is he back or is he? Not that. I mean, you trade a 3rd-round pick for him. I would think you probably should be getting an opportunity if he's not. I know he was out with a hamstring.
Corian Bennett. I'll circle back on him.
Okay, he might have been put on IR, and then that practice window. If I remember, I'm not sure.
He was placed on IR when Nolan Smith was.
There
He's
you
out
go.
for a couple more weeks.
Yeah, so his practice window's not open yet. And the trade deadline, I think, is November 7th, 6th, or 7th. It's early in November. So, I mean, Howie's got the pieces to do it.
They could make a lot of moves. I feel like we need a defensive end because
they've been banged up there too. And I think you're missing Nolan.
Missing Nolan. I like Hunt, but I don't know if he was ready for the starting spot yet. I mean, he has moments and you see him involved and he's around the plays, but I feel like they need an established, experienced defensive end. Now, obviously, we know they tried to go after Micah Parsons, so it's not for a lack of effort. They made the best offer by far.
Yeah.
But somewhere, like, I'll say this. We talk about, is the defense or is the offense the most concerning piece? What I'll say, I don't think that I don't think that the offense. Maybe I take it back. I'm going to flip on this. You guys have talked me, and I've talked myself out of this. I don't think it's the biggest issue because I think it's fixable because the talent is there, and whether it's Kevin Patullo gets his head out of his ass or it's Nick Sirianni takes over the play calling, there's too much talent to not believe at this point. And even from 2 years ago, when 2023, you didn't have a Saquon Barkley. I like DeAndre Swift, but he's not Saquon Barkley. There are a lot of pieces that weren't the same that were here. So I'm going to switch on this because the concern is the defense, because it's not just a health issue, although it is right now. It is a depth issue at multiple positions on the field on the defensive side. And as good as how he did it putting the offensive skill players together and putting the lines together on paper, and as good as he did in drafting young talent, a lot of that defensive roster stinks now. And they need to figure it out. So I'm swayed. All this talking and this is what we do, boys. We talk things out. We circle the block a couple of times, and then at the end of the day, this is where we go. We come back, and I am going to disagree to the original poll, which if you guys haven't seen it, here it is. Philadelphia Eagles offense is their biggest issue through week 4. No, it's the defense, because the defense, secondary specifically, has a lot of holes, and because Keely Ringo's on this damn team.
So another thing I hope they're practicing this week is these ridiculous kickoffs that bounce up and down and around, and we can't seem to catch a kickoff or a bounce ball, and the field position starts inside the 20. I don't think that helps either. I don't know what the answer to that is, but I hope they're out there with a fungo or like bouncing these balls around and practicing this, because it seems like the league is starting to do that. And the Rams were doing it. Now the Giants are doing it. So I think field position is crucial now, that, the kickoffs are going to go in, before the end zone. Otherwise you get the ball at the 35 or the 40. So it's really important to make sure that we tighten that up too. Cause if you don't have somebody back there that can catch it, you be next guy up. Cause this field position stuff is not helping either.
It seems like they're always getting the ball on the 15.
Yeah.
It's
Tank Bigsby can't catch a ball.
Nobody can catch a damn ball. Tank Bigsby came here first of all, I thought they would use him more at running back.
Yeah.
They have not at all.
Nope.
Travis Etienne stunk last year, and he took his job. And he produced. He had like 7 touchdowns last year with half of his season.
I mean, if A.J. Dillon keeps fumbling balls like he did last week, you might be seeing Tank Bigsby.
I mean, that's one. And listen,
I know it's one fumble, but I mean, it's.
Well, in the NFL, though, it seems like a guy fumbles a ball once and he's
not for long.
In his head forever. Yeah, not for long. Tank, I don't even see the point of that trade at this point, because if this is all he's here for, then I feel like it was a wasted spot. Like, I thought they would use him for the running back depth. They have not used him essentially at all. And he can't catch a football now. The one game was crazy, though. Did you see the knuckleballs the dude was punting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like watching Tim Wakefield pitch.
It's like you must be spending hours perfecting that, because it's got to be within that range. I think from the 20 to the goal line. So it's got to be precise. So you've got to, like, if you're going to do that, you've got to be spot on. And I mean, these kickers are just amazing. They can just do that on the regular, and it's working.
Yeah.
So what is the kickoff rule? If it goes into the end zone, it comes out to the 20?
No, I think it because the league wanted to stop all the automatic touchbacks. They have this where the kicker has to kick it from the goal line and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's to like the 20 or the 25. They got to kick it in that box. If they fall short, I believe it's a penalty to the 40. It's kind of 35 or 40, and if they kick it in the end zone, it's a penalty also.
Wow.
So it's kind of like that kickoff, and I think that's why ultimately they did trade for Bigsby, because I think they didn't think that these kickers were going to be doing these squibs, and they were going to be able to, use him to be a game-changing kick returner. But these kickers have had other ideas and have kind of adjusted to this new rule and done really well too, because it gives them an advantage.
Yeah, 100%. Greg Milakovic of A2D Wednesday nights and Agree to Disagree on Sundays says, now the roster stinks. Preseason we were loaded and this was the best roster in like now it's trash. Defensively, yes, Greg. Yes. It maybe stinks is an overstatement, but the depth stinks on this football team. And it's showing right now because it just takes one guy to be out. And we're not talking about a leak in the dam. We're talking about everything's breaking away and it's coming through on the defensive side. You can't stop anybody. It looked like the three of us out there in the secondary last week. Unacceptable. And yes, it could look good on paper too. And then when you see what's on the field, you're like, you know what? That's not good. It stinks. And defensively, it does.
I mean, they made Jackson Dart look like.
I think he's good.
I do too. I give him
Jackson
credit.
Dart bandwagon.
I do, but I mean, there were so many opportunities to get him on the ground. It was kind of just like after a while, like, come on. And the same thing happened with Bo Nix the week before. It was like you had so many opportunities to finish a play, and it just didn't seem to happen.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think that's. Oh, go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
No, I was going to say just a quick take. The way Bo Nix plays, I can't see him lasting too long in the NFL. He takes
a lot of big hits.
He could be like RG4. He might just have one or two good seasons, and then, I think the injuries are going to, add up on his body, and just the way he plays, I can't see him lasting too long.
Well, I mean, it reminds me a lot of early Josh Allen.
Yeah.
The big difference is Josh Allen is a massive man. That Bo Nix is big, but I don't think he's Josh Allen.
Yeah.
No.
I don't like Sean Payton, but I think he's the right guy for that team, where he's going to sit him down and be like, "Hey, you can't be doing that stuff." He's not going to sacrifice, him in that draft pick for, a few seasons if he can help it. Of course, there's things that could happen, freak accidents and stuff, but like limiting it, like sliding and going out of bounds and throwing the ball away. I think that's where he'll come in there and, tell him like, you can't be doing that. So hopefully, you never want to see that happen to players, but the way he's playing now, I 100% agree. I think the same with Jackson Dart too. Like, but he's a rookie too. Like, he's got one less year. So I think Dable after a while is gonna be like, yeah, you need to, calm down a little bit. But going back to the team, I don't think the team is not a bad team. Like I said, they're 4-2, and they have wins against the Bucks, the Rams, and the Cowboys are the Cowboys is a divisional win, and it was the opening week, and the Chiefs. So the wins are right that like they're great wins. You're not beating Cleveland. You're not beating, Arizona or anybody like that. You've beaten 3 out of the 4, I would say, playoff teams and people that have predicted them to go all the way. So,
and if you look at that one loss, it was against an AFC team. So
yeah. So, and that's where, yes, we probably may be overreacting to some degree, but I don't think that these aren't valid concerns. The secondary is a huge problem.
Like that, to me, there's no overreaction on how bad we are in the secondary.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you there.
In agreement on that one.
Yes, 100%. And if you think it was a problem last week with Wan'Dale Robinson and whoever that other guy was, and it's going to be a bigger problem with JJ and Addison with
and TJ Hawkinson
and Hawkinson. Yeah, I mean it's going to become a bigger issue.
They're in Philly this week, right?
Yes.
So
Carson's back, baby.
Oh, dude, I just
crazy.
I hate that Giants turf. It just seems they kill everybody. It's just like, hopefully.
Speaking of the Giants, they got them the following week. They're back. They play them again.
Yeah,
which is wild.
if our defensive line could just get home on some of these quarterbacks and put pressure on it, maybe the secondary wouldn't be as bad. But we're not getting pressure on the quarterbacks. They're not even getting a sniff on these guys. And before we if you could get right up the middle and get the guy scurrying and worried and throws away, makes an errant pass, who knows what could happen. But
Yeah.
Well, you had no Jalen Carter this past week.
yeah. Why was he out? Because
heel injury, foot injury, something
between
like
that and the Phillies game. So I was like,
yeah. I was gonna say, you've noticed though too this year that Fangio has had to call blitzes, which last year he didn't have to call that. He called them when he needed to, but you notice he's sending people more and more because the front four is not getting pressure to the quarterback. And when they do that, it's opening up plays down the field. So it's like, what do you do? It's hard, especially with the the injuries and the lack of depth at secondary. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I agree with this.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that, Greg. I think that's the guy to go out and get. So that'll help.
Nolan gets back for the Green Bay game, I believe.
I'll be there.
I'm going to Green Bay as well.
Oh, are you? Nice.
Yeah, got a buddy out there.
Eric, you're going to that game, right?
Yeah. Me and Chris are going.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been a bucket list trip for me, and got a buddy with some connections. He's like, just come stay at my house. We'll drive up, and
it's awesome.
Yeah, so just
maybe I'll see. Yeah. We have an Airbnb in Milwaukee, so
I'm staying in Milwaukee as well. So
yeah. Oh, nice. Well, maybe we'll run into each other.
I go see the Fonzie statue, And I think it's a Dick the Bruiser statue. I keep confusing him with the Crusher, but no, it's the Crusher. The Crusher statue. He's got the barrel of he's got the keg on his shoulder. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be a good trip. Hopefully the good guys win.
Yes.
Well, I mean, that's another team that's been very inconsistent to this point. So, I mean, to me, it's going to be, although they just had their bye week, it's going to be who's going to get their act together the quickest, right? So anyway, yeah, I think that's the move. Is there anybody else that you guys feel like we're missing out on? Or is there any specific, even if you don't want to give a player, so to speak, is there any specific position that you would like to see this team do an upgrade in, whether it's on offense or defense?
I think the offense is set talent-wise. It's just the scheme. And, but, on defense, like if we were going to bring in additional help, I would say, I think we're all in agreement, cornerback, safety area. Sorry, first day with the new mouth.
I think if you can get another lineman, maybe like another guard or even a tackle, just
on the offense or the defense.
On the offense, because to your point, Lane's been pretty banged up. Then Dickerson's been banged up since the beginning. It wouldn't hurt to have a little extra depth if you can make it happen. I mean, we have so many picks. I mean, I highly doubt Howie's going to draft 13 players next year. We know how he works, so it's definitely possible that you could. I would say in order: corner, D end, and a tackle. That's probably your three. That would be my three, like in order of need.
Now, I'm going to say, if you're going to do the move, do it now, and to get these guys in here and get them acclimated to the system. Where you don't wait till the trade deadline. Just get them in there now. It's a need of now, and do it. Get the guys used to the system, and I think this is all fixable. And like I said, earlier, it's good to have the problem now as opposed to week 14 where you're like, oh man, why didn't we see this coming? We see it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Get it
Yeah,
done.
and I think too, right? Like, again, we're already seeing the dominoes start to fall in terms of trades at other places. So, if you have your guy identified, go out and get it done. At this point, you have the capital. It's not going to hurt you. You're not going to make 13 picks. So I think you have to pull the trigger. And, having that extra, I guess we have this week, another week, and then the bye week hitting in. So a lot of time for whoever you can bring in to get caught up on the game, on the playbook and the game planning, and get familiar with their teammates and be ready to rock and roll after that bye week. So, the thing, Greg, is you're right. There's a lot of inconsistency in terms of the top tier teams. It is not the same type of an inconsistency. But you're right, and that is the one benefit they have. The team as of now, who is the top seed, is the team
Tampa.
that we beat. So that's a benefit because that's a tiebreaker in your favor.
Yeah.
So I got to give him, this call on that. The only team that never calls traditional running back screens.
Maybe they should this week to be unpredictable.
I don't agree with this, Fester. I don't think it's about catching up with Hurts in the O-line. The O-line is hurt constantly right now.
Yeah.
And they're getting bullied. And I think they miss Becton. And Hurts can only do so much. I actually applaud Jalen Hurts because the amount of pressure he has faced. He had how many was he sacked? 6 or 7 times this week. It was 8 times the week before.
Yeah.
It took him to week 6 to have his first turnover. He does not turn the ball over. He makes smart moves. He stays in bounds when he needs to. He doesn't. I don't think it's. I actually think, if anything, we've seen a more mature version of Jalen Hurts through the offensive struggles.
I will say this about Jalen on that play of that interception. I don't know if you've looked at the all 22 of that, but he had two other options besides that one. He had AJ Brown open in the end zone. Now, to your point, the pressure, and it's easy for me to say, oh, we got somebody wide open. But that's kind of the things that have been questioned on Jalen. Is he not getting interceptions because he's not taking a chance downfield, which I'm fine with. You're not turning the ball over, but we got to move the ball also. And also there's been some plays this year where he had DeVonta wide open in the Giant game. He'd still be running. I think he had that AJ Brown one where he said he stopped, but I mean, not to say that Jalen is the reason for the sputtering offense. I don't think that's the case, but I think there's still some opportunity there when it arises, and I'm okay if he takes a few more chances, but maybe that's what it is, where he's too worried about making a mistake and going to the safe option, the safe route, which I think he thought that past the Dotson was the safe route, and he got picked off anyway. But needless to say, I think he may need to, him, Patullo, and Sirianni, because he should be in the room too. They need to, dial it up at times. And if you do that, it's going to open up that run game also.
But there's also, like I said, there's been times where he's completed the big pass downfield and they got negated. Yeah, it's crazy. When they called that penalty on Saquon, I thought that was so ticky-tack. That whole, I mean, a split second, he wasn't still, but he threw that down to Smitty, and that would have been a game changer right there. It's just frustrating.
So to your point of that, it's why I think a human element needs to be involved in professional sports and in the officiating of professional sports. I actually was shockingly surprised at how adamant Tony Romo was on his disagreement with how the intentional grounding call was picked up. And I get it. I get it too. I'm 100% with him, and I said the same thing. We're going to stop Saquon, who does a little flinch. And it's the other thing, too, on the defensive side. When an offensive guy jumps, defensive guys can jump and then move back and forth as long as they don't get the – it's just – I don't like it. It feels very weird to me.
Yeah.
But
it's like the Eagles had to play flawless football in that Denver game. It just didn't sit right.
I believe that if there is an intention, if it is clearly obvious, this guy has no idea that Eric Archer is running back for the football down here. He's just getting rid of the ball to get rid of the ball to avoid a sack.
Yeah.
That flag should stand. I've seen that flag stand before.
Yep.
I mean, that guy was borderline at the 5 yards. And I was shocked at how adamant Tony Romo was and pleasantly surprised at how that rule should be able to be open-ended at an official's discretion. Because that was, to me, that's bullshit. But not the wrong call, though. Fine. But then we're gonna come down on the he's still moving bullshit. But Goddard's got two guys hanging all over. One guy is obviously specifically, and you don't make that call. We lost the Super Bowl for less than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a same kind of moment.
Yep.
I think just the fact that it was thrown and then picked up but never got explained.
And that's the thing.
That's kind of just like, really? Like, if you're going to pick it up, you need to explain it. And I think there's some good officials that do that. I'm not talking about the analysts. I'm talking about the officials on the field.
Right. Well, yeah.
It's like, if you're going to pick it up, you need to explain. I'm sure he explained it to Sirianni after the fact, but like, explain it so that it's just like, either throw it or don't. Be on the same page. Be consistent.
They don't throw it. Then they wait a minute and a half, and then they throw it. And then they wait another minute, and then they pick it up with no explanation whatsoever.
Yep.
Egregious.
Yeah.
They're so worried about the tush push and worry about everything else on the field.
I loved everything about that. I loved everything about 4 consecutive tush pushes. To me, that was a middle finger to the league, a middle finger to everybody. I loved it. Listen, I don't care about the false starting because I watch every play. I watch the game, and it's the Eagles do it and other teams. Every play I watch a game, there's a false start.
Yeah.
Every play.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody jumps early, so I don't give a shit. Try to break early yourself.
When you slow something down that slow, you're bound to catch a penalty here and there.
Agreed.
Without a doubt.
Agreed. So this week, guys, we have Minnesota. And it's Monday, so it's an early prediction. We're not even technically through week 6 yet. But before we do hop off today, I just want to get your quick thoughts on Carson coming back. Listen, I got to give him I still have a hard time rooting for Carson Wentz to not succeed. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
We got the best year of his career. He would have been an MVP. I think as ironic as the best year of his career was, it was also the lead to the downfall because I think he missed a lot up here. But I honestly believe I don't think he was as bad as he was as people try to make him out in Indianapolis, to be honest. Statistically, he was actually pretty damn good. But I think all of the constant scrutiny, the Nick Foles stuff got in his head. We know what happened here. Lost his job here. Kind of spiraled a little bit. You guys remember he released that picture, still working out, and he had what do you have? A Commander's helmet, or he had the Eagles helmet, the Commander's jersey, and the Colts shorts. It was so weird.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think he's a bad guy.
No.
I think he bought into his own hype for a little bit. I think he's been humbled since then. And I think him being back in Minnesota and being with Kevin O'Connell, who has done amazing things with quarterbacks, maybe it is a little bit of a rebirth, but it's a corner turn for Carson to maybe come back and be a more like a serviceable starting quarterback in this league.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, when he was with Philly, I think the nail in the coffin for him at Philly was that Clowney hit. I think,
That was
and
brutal.
and I'm
That was
just
brutal.
when it comes to concussions, and people dealing with concussions, people could get a little emotional, and I think after that concussion, he wasn't the same person, because he had his best year here in 2017. He's the reason why we were able to get to do a Super Bowl, even though he didn't finish the job. But you remember that one season, was it? I forget what year the Clowney hit was, but he put the team on his back and carried us to an NFC East championship, and to get to his first playoff game and get knocked out in a couple minutes with a concussion. That's just it was a shame what happened with him here. But had that not happened, I think he would have had a decent. I don't know if they. I'm so torn. I'm so torn on it, but I'm happy where we're at now. With where we're at now. But the career of Carson Wentz is one to be studied for a long time.
Yeah, it really has. It really, really has. It's just so hard for me to root against him.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
But we'll see. I mean, it's been fun in a weird way to see him have flashes of the old Carson. It takes me back to really good times in this city where we got to experience something we had never experienced before, and that was a run to a Super Bowl. So I'll always be grateful to the guy. I actually was gonna. I had his jersey. I gave it to your darling bride, Brian, for her to use for making like bags and stuff. But for the longest time, I kept saying, I'm not gonna get rid of this jersey because there'll be a time you can wear a Carson jersey again. And he was a part of that first team. He was a big reason it happened. Eventually, you'll be able to wear it. And then I was just like, nah, she could use it more than I could.
I wonder how many people got the nameplates swapped out and took off Wentz and put Brown on there.
Oh, I imagine a bunch. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, got it.
Yeah, I don't think him being in Kansas City last year was that. I think that helped him possibly as well.
Oh yeah,
with Andy and Mahomes and Matt Nagy and that staff. I mean, they've shown they have arguably the best quarterback in the league there, and have built him from the ground up. So who better to kind of just see how he goes about his day to day? What better person to learn off of than Mahomes? But I think it was just like once that knee injury happened in that Rams game, and it just kind of from there just kind of snowballed, and then the flashes of him coming back and carrying, because that team, I think, would they have Greg Ward and some receivers I don't even remember who were on the team. I know Fulgham was the following year. The wild card team, it was like Greg Ward and I forget who. Like there were like he didn't have much to work with at all. You had Boston Scott and that group.
Listen, Greg Ward's a very underrated Philadelphia Eagle. What he contributed unexpectedly on this team. I've always been a Greg Ward, I guess, a guy.
He stuck around for longer than I thought he would. I mean, he had like four or five seasons, right? Something like that.
Oh yeah, he was with them for some pretty decent teams too.
That's above the average NFL player. He defied the odds. But going back to Carson, I think, just the mental thing. Him, somebody getting drafted at his position, a high pick that wasn't expected, and that kind of probably, didn't help matters either. But of course, in hindsight, it was the right move. But I think he just had to find his footing somewhere else, and it took a while. But here he is, and he could be in line to be a starter somewhere, if not Minnesota. I mean, I know they have McCarthy, so but for now he's QB1.
I don't think JJ McCarthy's ready. So Carson might be able to play himself into at least another year as the starter, as a bridge.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if they keep being competitive they're right there. So in an open NFC North. So definitely curious to see what happens.
Yeah, I would agree. I got just a quick prediction on it. If you guys want to give one, you're welcome to. I do think the Eagles win this game. I do think they win this game. I do think it's time to start. I'm not saying break glass and hit the panic button then, but there's a lot of soul searching that's going to need to happen. And somebody's head's got to roll. I'm not saying fire in the coordinator, but there needs to be a change. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't know. You guys think they win this game this upcoming week against Minnesota?
Yeah, I think, with this mini bye, get healthy, get right. And I'm going to predict a low scoring game, but I do think the Eagles win it.
Yeah, I think it's hard to not predict a low scoring game because they only play one half of offense, it seems.
Yeah, like I'm Eagles 17, Vikings 14. Just
it's gonna be a stressful week.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a little higher scoring, only because I don't trust the secondary of the Eagles. So that means that Jalen's going to have to put up some points to win this game. But I do think they win. I'd say 28-24 Eagles. But I think it's going to be another struggle for the secondary. And I hope that DeJean's on Justin Jefferson and following him around, because especially if Q's not playing, better have him on Jefferson and then have a safety over top, because it's gonna be a long day if they go with number 7 anywhere on the field.
Got some last minute comments coming in. Little G Griffith, appreciate you. By the way, Ryan, appreciate everything you put in there, but that's why I left it up for a while. It was a lot to read, but Eagles need a new offense coordinator, offensive.
Yeah, he's been the best player on the team so far this year, Jake Elliott. Jake Elliott's been phenomenal. There you go.
Money. This was a lot of fun, boys.
Yeah.
It was good stuff. We always like to get together every few weeks or every month to a month and a half. Talk some birds.
It's healthier that way.
Agreed. We like to get together, do this little powwow. We are still having our regular Lazy Booking show tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to recap a crazy weekend of wrestling.
Quite the incident on Raw. I won't spoil it for anybody. Sorry, Chrome.
We might need to start at spoiler. and Brian was on when you spoiled it too.
Sorry.
Son of a bitch.
We might have to get on at 6 o'clock because I also want to talk about, which we were fortunate enough to talk to him about on here, Devon Dudley's final match last night.
Yeah,
the Hardys and the Dudleys. I did watch it. It was awesome. So I definitely want to talk about that too. Lots to cover. We said it before, Brian. Let them know where we can find you, buddy.
You can find me on the Mind of the Meanie podcast, which drops every Monday morning, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. We talk about music, movie, sports, tons of useless knowledge. If you want to support the Blue Meanie, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Blue Meanie. Also, I'm appearing in a documentary that's just coming out in it's playing theaters right now, but it'll be out on It'll be out on Amazon Video, Amazon Prime, Vudu, Google Play, and Apple Plus, called Nevermore: The Raven Effect. It's an awesome documentary about the professional wrestler Raven, who has been a huge part of my career. We had 2 screenings here in Philly at Philomoka, which is a really cool venue. If you've never been there, it's definitely a really cool spot. But we got to watch the movie with 2 different crowds, and it was cool to watch crowds react to the movie the way, I hope they would react to it. But yeah, there's the poster for it there. Nevermore: The Raven Effect, coming November 18th to Amazon Prime, Vudu, Apple Plus, and Google Play. So it's a really good documentary done by Jordy Day, who also did documentaries on Probert, the hockey goon, and Charles Manson. So he's done some really cool documentaries. This is one beautifully shot, and it's a great story and a little bit of a cautionary tale as well. But hats off to Raven for opening up this much about his life. So if you get a chance to check it out, it's definitely worth the watch.
Yeah, and I've seen the trailer that you put out there, and it's very, very, very exciting to get a chance to see it. So
Yeah,
if you can get a chance to get out to one of these events and check it out, please do. If not, no worries. You'll catch it once it comes out on its streaming platforms. But it looks really, really, really good.
Yeah.
And obviously, as we said already, come and check this guy out. Yeah, of course, brother. Really, really great show. We love having Meanie on, as always. Make sure you guys follow us on A2D Radio as well. You can find us on our. Fix this bad boy. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Ooh, you got a nice close shot of this mug. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram at A2D Radio and at Lazy Booking Podcast, and obviously all of our other social media platforms and streaming platforms. Don jumping in last minute. Appreciate you, brother. Let's see. Good for you, little G Griffin.
Yeah,
You're going to be an
congrats.
Uncle Times too. It's a boy. It's awesome.
congratulations.
Very good, brother. That's my dad's birthday, so October 26th. Cool stuff. Good stuff, Don. Go back and check us out. And you can check all of our shows out on our archive on A2D Radio on their face. I don't know if you notice this, Brian. It seems like live streams, Facebook is removing them like pretty quickly now. Am I wrong about this?
I haven't noticed, but
like I had the Ken Shamrock interview we did like 5 years ago was pinned to my page for 4 years, 5 years, and then suddenly it was gone. And then I noticed that even when we came back in May and started doing these shows, it would be on Facebook for like maybe a month, and then the shows would come up as that like post not available thing or something. And
oh wow,
yeah. Maybe they just hate me. I don't know, but. Check us out there. Lazy Booking Podcast also has its own YouTube page where we do archive the shows that you can catch on A2D as well. It's just a simpler place to go and find the shows. And we're going to eventually get some of our backlog uploaded as well from past shows. But yeah, great show today. Brian, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, of course. Oh, Vikings 40. Oh, Shady Westbrook.
I hope you are wrong.
Don's got the Eagles.
I hope you are right.
Yeah, thank you, Don. Appreciate Brian joining us. Eric, as always, Archer, the Arch. Good stuff, buddy. And for myself, for our sponsor, SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com, Brian, Blue Meanie, Eric, and everybody here at A2D Radio. Let's go, Birds. Let's go out here. Let's get a win. Let's get a damn win.
Caw-caw.
And have a great holiday, and tell somebody out there you love them. Give them a hug. See you guys later.